Okay, so before we start chapter 12, let's just think about what happened at the end of 11. So Ellie and Maya are bonding, meaning they're getting to know each other, they're very comfortable with each other, they're a unit, they're a team. And Maya has been trying to run more, and she decided to take a bath, and Ellie, the very end of chapter 11, jumped into the bathtub with her. And they were both laughing and really having a good time. So here we are to chapter 12 on page 115. A car ride. I bounced happily into the back seat as Maya got in the front. We couldn't be going to work because Maya was happy. Lately she was never happy about work. Today there was a little buzz of excitement coming off her, and it made me excited too. I stuck my nose out the window, drinking in the smells that rushed past, and my tail smacked the seat of the car as I wagged. But it wasn't until Maya stopped the car and opened the door that I realized where I was. Jacob's apartment. I ran ahead of Maya, bounding up the stairs and barking at the door. I never would have done that when I lived with Jacob, but I was so happy that I couldn't help myself. Jacob! I was going to see Jacob again. I could smell him inside and hear him moving to the door. He opened it, and I barreled into him, leaping and twisting joyfully. It had been so long since I'd seen him or smelled him or heard his voice. "Ellie, how are you, girl?" "Sit," he commanded. I dropped my bottom onto the floor, but it didn't want to stay there. "Hi, Jacob," Maya said from the doorway. "Come on in, Maya," he answered. So can you picture Ellie being like super excited, and even though she's sitting and following the command, her backside is probably like wagging around, and she's like, woohoo, okay? Jacob walked toward a chair. I bounced up to walk with him. He moved more slowly than he used to, and he held on to the back of the chair as he eased himself into it. What is the author trying to tell us? Look at how he's describing the actions of Jacob and how he's moving. I put my head on his knees. I would have climbed into his lap even, just as I'd done with Maya in the tub, but I knew better. Jacob wouldn't allow that, and anyway, I had a sense that I should be careful with him. Maya and Jacob talked a little, the way people do. I pulled away from Jacob and began to sniff around the apartment. Not much had changed. My bed was gone, but my scent was still in the bedroom. It would be all right. I could sleep on the carpet or even on Jacob's bed if he wanted me to. I trotted back out to be with Jacob, passing Maya on the way. She reached out her hand with its smell of soap and sweet lotion and tasty food to stroke my back as I went by. That's when it hit me. Going back to Jacob would mean leaving Maya. When Jacob had taken me away from my mother and my littermates, I hadn't had a choice. When Maya had taken me from the kennel to her home, I hadn't had a choice. I understood how it was. Dogs did not get to choose where they lived. People decided that. But that didn't stop me from feeling like something inside me was tearing in two. Jacob was far better at work than Maya. But Maya didn't carry a dark core of sadness around with her all the time, the way that Jacob did. When Maya laughed, she was truly happy. When Maya hugged her little cousins and nieces and nephews at Mama's house, joy rippled off of her in waves. And when Maya petted me and scratched me behind my ears and called me good dog, I felt the same kind of love from her that I used to feel from Georgia. It was something Jacob never allowed himself to feel. So at this point, I might be able to ask you to compare and contrast Jacob and Maya, all right? About looking at their actions and how they treat Ellie. Quite different, but they both have some similarities, right? They both are police officers, and they both love working with Ellie. On the other hand, Jacob didn't have any cats. I knew what I should do with my life. I had to find, show, and save people. I had once done that with Jacob. Now I did it with Maya too. But what was happening now? Would I stay here with Jacob? Would I go home with Maya? Who would I do my work with? I began to pace anxiously back and forth, back and forth. Do you need to go out? Maya asked. No, when she needs to do that, she sits by the door, Jacob said. Oh, right, I've seen her do that, Maya said. I just leave my back door open a lot of the time, so you know, she can come and go. They were silent for a little while. I didn't feel like sitting still, even near Jacob. I moved into the kitchen. It wasn't like Mama's kitchen. The floor was perfectly clean, as it always was. Nothing tasty to be licked up. Too bad. It would have made me feel better. I heard you're taking disability, Maya said. Yeah, well, I've been shot twice in the last 5 years. That'd be enough for anybody, Jacob replied. You'll be missed, Maya said quietly. I'm not leaving town. I'm enrolled at UCLA, full time. I only have 1.5 years left for my law degree. So I want to stop and point out that UCLA is a very famous college. It's the University of California at Los Angeles. So we now know where Ellie lives. She lives in the city of Los Angeles in California. So when you're making your map, 5th graders, for your project, you could add that to your map, the city of Los Angeles. There was another silence. Maya was uncomfortable. I could tell. It used to happen a lot around Jacob when people would try to talk with him. The words would get slower and slower and then stop. And the other person would sit there quietly, getting more and more anxious. I came back into the living room and wandered around in a circle, restless. Jacob was staring at me. So when are you up for certification? He asked, as if he'd just noticed how quiet things had gotten. All right, I'm going to stop there because I want to be able to post, and I think that's about, oh, you know, let's read to the bottom of page 110. I think we have some time. Okay. I picked a spot on the floor halfway between the two of them and lay down with a sigh. I couldn't figure out what these two humans were going to do. I couldn't even figure out why they wanted to sit there and make words at each other if it wasn't going to make either one of them happy. I wasn't happy either. 2 weeks, but Maya's voice trailed off. But, Jacob prompted her, I'm thinking of resigning from the program. Maya's words came out in a rush, as if she were afraid she stopped talking if she let herself slow down. I just can't keep up. I didn't realize. Well, someone else would probably be better. You can't do that, Jacob said sharply. I raised my head and looked at him, wondering why he was angry. You can't keep switching handlers on a dog, Jacob continued. Ellie is the best dog anybody's ever seen. I thumped my tail when I heard my name, but Jacob's tone was still stern. You dump her like that, you could ruin her, he told Maya. Wally said the two of you have a real connection. I can see it too. She's bonded with you. She looks to you. You're a team. Okay, let's stop and then I'll pick it up at the top of page 120.